Get ready for Porchfest 2024. I'm Lisa Oligus, and this is Newsmakers. In today's show, we will learn about the plan for this year's North Heights Porchfest event. It's a day of live music on lawns and porches in a neighborhood on the north end of Joplin. We will hear from coordinators, a homeowner participating, and talk to a band and musician taking part, including a song sample. Let's begin our conversation with Porchfest organizer, flyer and t-shirt designer, and North Heights Porchfest website manager, William Clift. You have many jobs. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
So you do wear many hats in the organization. How did you first get involved in Porchfest?
I first got involved in Porchfest as a college student back in 2017, the first year of the event. They needed someone to take photos, and I had a camera. That's about it. And since then, I have started managing their social media, making anything graphic design related. I'm a professional graphic designer. And now here I am today.
Yeah, it's a free event and it seems to grow more each year, including bands that want to be part of it. Now, I was told band applications are up 25%.
Yes, we have a ton. We get more and more every day, even after they've officially closed.
Yeah.
So I believe we have almost 60 applications this year. And we started Porchfest in 2017 with just 10 bands. And that felt like a lot at the time. But now we pack the entire neighborhood.
That's amazing growth.
It really is. It's exploded. We had about 6,000 people come last year, we think, as an estimate. It really seems like the community is starting to take notice and rally behind it.
Yeah. Well, we attended last year and taped some of the bands. They aren't just local. So tell us about some of those playing this year and how far away they're based, where they're coming from.
Sure. Most of our bands are based locally, but we do have more and more people every year coming from a kind of a broader region. We have Tenny Rain coming this year. She's kind of a folk soloist coming from Chattanooga, Tennessee. She's setting a record for us. It's 650 miles. We've had bands from Colorado and the Houston, Texas area. We have the Odyssey, a great rock band out of Tulsa coming this year, as well as some bands from Northwest Arkansas. We have Townhouse Fire, if you're familiar. Mm-hmm. So really a great sampling of music from all across the region. How
does the sheer number of bands make this such a unique opportunity for music enthusiasts and listeners?
Sure. We have every genre of music under the sun. Everything from folk, jazz, rock. We have some hip hop this year for the first time. So really, no matter what you like, you can find something that you'll really enjoy at Porchfest. And it's kind of a mix of people who are doing this professionally, who want to make their band a big thing, the thing that they live on, and sort of hobbyists and amateurs who are just starting out. So you're seeing people on the ground floor, everybody gets their start there, and I think that's what's so beautiful about Porchfest.
And you can say, I knew them when.
Exactly.
I saw them when they were just starting. So you've had food trucks at the event before this year. You're creating a mega block. So tell us about that. Where will the food trucks be located, and what is the mega block?
Yes, so the food trucks, first of all, they're moving this year. They've previously been located on Byers, but they're moving to the Michael and Jerry Lynn Joseph Family Park, which, if you're familiar with Columbia Elementary School, there is, of course, it's not there anymore. There's a park there now that is owned by the neighborhood group. So the food trucks will be there along the walking path on the site of Columbia Elementary. And then our mega block is just the block to the south of that on the 500 block of Moffett. And the focus of that area is really for people with disabilities to make it a very accessible portion of the event. So if you can't or don't want to hoof it around the entire neighborhood all day, you don't have to. So all of our artists, all of our visual artists will have booths on that block. And we'll have a full slate of music all day, all 6 hours, a really great variety of genres there. And we'll have chairs set out, there will be accessible restrooms, and so if you have an older person in your family or someone with a mobility limitation, you can just park there all day and have a full experience of the event.
Well, it's also nice to just be able to take a break on a block where it's safe, there's not a lot of traffic, because it is a neighborhood, people do live there, they get to come and go, and it's a lot of walking, or it can be if you want to see multiple bands and you're running around. So it is nice to have a place to kind of just take a load off.
Yes, exactly. And one thing I left out that you brought up is that the street is blocked off there. That is the only place that the street is blocked off.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, you started something new to get word out about Porchfest to generate some startup funds, and that's been called Porchfest. Now, we'll have one of those bands to help kick off the event on the eve of Porchfest, but what have those events been like, and who's going to perform at the one that's just the day before the event? You got a special one.
Yes, so we partnered with Chaos Brewing Company. That's at the 100 block of Main in downtown. Fantastic pub with home-baked pizza and pretzels. For our Porchfest concert series. And basically the point there is that Porchfest is a free event, but we pay all of the bands at Porchfest. Since 2022, when we started paying all of the bands, we have created over 150 paying gigs and put almost $10,000 into the local music scene. So Porchfest has a cover charge. It's $10, but it's kind of a different experience. You can have fresh baked pizza right there, beer. Of course, there's no alcohol at Porchfest for obvious reasons. But it's really more of a traditional concert experience. You're really up close and personal with the bands. It's a little more loose. So it's just kind of a different experience, a special experience.
And you're having one October 4th.
Yes.
Right before the big event.
Yes, we're having the Zane Grimes Band from here in Joplin. They do country, rock, blues. The Odyssey from Tulsa, rock and roll band, and Townhouse Fire from Northwest Arkansas, another rock and roll band.
Excellent. So Porchfest involves neighbors and is now partnering with local businesses as well. So let's discuss Livin' Local Week and how that can benefit the overall gist of Porchfest.
Yes, so Livin' Local Week will be taking place the week before Porchfest. That's September 28th to October 4th. And if you remember last year, if you follow us closely, you'll remember that some local businesses around town, the Bruncheonette, Blackstone Gastropub, and Frosted Cakery in downtown ran some specials for Porchfest. They had Porchfest themed dishes themed after the bands at the Bruncheonette, kind of the same thing at Blackstone, and Porchfest themed cookies at Frosted Cakery. So we're trying to expand that to include any local business who wants to get involved. And the idea is just to cross-promote and take advantage of each other's audiences and grow the business scene at no cost to them. All they have to do is come up with something fun to show off their own local business, and we'll show it off on their social media, and they promote Porchfest on their end, and the pie gets bigger, as they say.
And well, with it being an all-day event, you can still eat from a food truck, but then even maybe at the end of the Porchfest event, go out to dinner.
Absolutely, yes.
So
it's all about celebrating lifting up local businesses.
Excellent. All right, what is the best way for people to check out where things are happening and how it's playing and get the map and everything?
So you can go to northheightsporchfest.com. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, we're going to talk a little later with a resident who's hosting a band and is involved with children's activities for the event. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this information about Porchfest.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will talk with musical veterans of Porchfest, members of the Gutter Divas, Andy Wilson and Heath Brown, who will share some of their sound. Don't go away.
Out of my head, losing control, losing my grip. Out of the floor, out of my head, losing control.
Welcome back to Newsmakers, where we are talking about this year's North Heights Porchfest, happening in Joplin October 5th, so mark your calendar. Joining us now are members of the band Gutter Divas. Andy Wilson, Heath Brown, and drummer Randy Kell will be joining us. Welcome, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Your band has been part of this event since it started in 2017. Why keep coming back? Has it been good for the band?
Yeah, it's been an awesome experience for us. It's such a fun event. Everybody from the community can come out and have a good time, check out music and arts and crafts, and just enjoy being in the community. It's a great experience.
Andy, you actually live in the neighborhood. Tell us about that. Is it fun to have this in your neighborhood?
It's the best. I love our neighborhood. I always have. That's part of the reason. Grew up there, actually not far from where I'm currently living now, and raised my two boys there. So it's a wonderful neighborhood, and I've just wanted to be part of this from the very beginning, because I think it's a great way to bring some pride to the neighborhood, bring some energy to the neighborhood, and bring great music as well. Being a musician, I'm proud to be part of that.
What do you like about playing either on a porch or a lawn, and what are the crowds like? I mean, do you get good feedback?
Yeah, it's been a fun experience. You know, I think we've been really blessed too to have just the crowds continue to get bigger each year. I think the first year we played to maybe like 15, 20 people, and you know, just to see the group of people, both at the event as well as at our Gutter Divas show, has been awesome. Just to see the people come in and really have a good time with it.
Yeah. What kind of feedback do you get, Andy?
We get great feedback, and through Porchfest, it's always interesting because we get different folks than we would see, say, at a bar or some of our other venues. It's much more family oriented. You also get a lot of people just strolling by, so they might not stay for the entire set. Perhaps they're catching several different bands, since you know we often have folks that'll stay for a couple of songs and move on and catch some other bands, and we love that because it gives them a chance to sample, you know, not just us, but the other great musicians that are out there. You know, we don't expect you to just plop down and listen to us. That's great if you do, but only, you know, get out there and sample everybody that's out there, or as many as you can, because that's the nature of, that's the idea of Porchfest.
Yeah, I mean, with 50 or 60 bands on the slate, you're not going to be able to hit somebody's whole set without missing somebody, so
I was
it is
going to
nice.
say, you know, even when we're playing, I'm missing some bands that I would love to be seeing. So yeah, it's you're always sacrificing. Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about your sound.
Yeah, I tend to describe our sound, broad strokes, as an alternative rock band, maybe more specifically like a desert rock band, because our sound is very influenced by bands like Queens of the Stone Age and Fu Manchu and Monster Magnet. And we just play music that we love and go out, perform it for people, and hope they love it too.
Yeah. Do you ever premiere new music at an event like this? You know, do you say, oh, wait, let's just sample it on them?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great opportunity to, you know, pull anything out that we may be working on, or, you know, pull out some deep cuts from, you know, our back catalog, if you will.
Yeah, it's a very forgiving audience. They usually will, you know, go with us wherever we're willing to take them. So it's a great time. And we have some of the best dancers in the world at Porchfest. We get, you know, from age 2 on up to, you know, 80. So it's, like I say, we see the kind of crowds that we'll never see in a bar or other kind of venue, which makes it more fun for us as performers.
You bet. Do you guys include covers in your music, or how can this be helpful to a band that might be new to listeners, you know, and what songs will you play this year?
Yeah, our Porchfest set, we haven't finalized it yet, but we'll feature our original material mostly, but I'm sure we'll throw in a cover or 2 or 3. Kind of like you said, Lisa, it's a great way to connect with your audience because it gives them something that they know, something they're familiar with, and that's huge for a band to connect to an audience, and the audience to connect back to the band.
So how does this work? How many sets of music do you play, and you know, how many songs in each? You know, what's the schedule like? Play repeatedly, off and on? How does it go?
Yeah, it depends on the event. This year, you know, at Porchfest, we'll just play 1 set. You know, maybe in a bar type setting, we'll play multiple sets of music. In the bar setting, we do have a lot more cover material, probably about, what, 50-50 original material to cover material.
We like to split it up because oftentimes we're trying to get people who might not be familiar at all with our music. We like to have something that might kind of hook them in. Oh, I'm familiar with that song. I know that song. That gets them on the dance floor perhaps, and then they'll stay, hopefully, once they hear our music as well. That's the idea. We like to get the bodies moving.
You bet. Do you guys record your music? I mean, do you have CDs that you would try to sell and market at a place? I mean, can this be a good outlet for building your fan base and then also like, hey, take this with you?
Absolutely it can. And we will have merch available at Porchfest. A lot of our stuff now is just available online for, you know, you don't necessarily have to buy, but we have T-shirts available. We do have a few copies, I believe, of our CDs still. So those, for those of you who are still into the hard digital formats, those are still available too.
So what is it like to work with the homeowners? And have you been at the same location, or do you kind of, each year is at a different place?
Yeah, for us it's been really easy because our homeowner host also happens to be the bass player in our band. So we play at the same place every year, and thank you, Andy, for letting us do that, and thank you to your neighbor too for letting us invade her yard.
I was going to say we've used my neighbor, my niece Katie Tatar has allowed us to use her yard on occasion as well. So it's been a mutual sharing of yard space, but only we've had no problem. And from what I've heard from the other bands, they've had just wonderful experiences with the hosts. A lot of the hosts, they'll set up activities for the families, for the kids. So it's just, as I say, it's a great experience from place to place.
And no pressure. You all feel really good about the music you're making. Is it?
Absolutely.
Do you ever get requests?
We do. We get some interesting ones. Yeah.
Your son always asking us to play Freebird.
Yeah, we do have a certain member from my family that has a particular request that we've yet to accommodate, but one of these days, who knows? But yes, we do get requests.
All right, and whether you take them is whether you know them.
That's right, whether we know them or not.
All right, well, thank you guys for telling us all about it. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back with a resident who is hosting a band talking about children's activities and family fun, along with a new artist to the event. But as we go, we're going to ask the band to play one of the songs to give us a taste of what's to come. All right, so here are Gutter Divas playing us into break with The Basement.
Spinning out in the stars, not quite sure where I are, counting the breaths from my lungs, witnessing earth floating above. Out of my head, losing control, losing my grip, fell to the floor. Out of my head, losing control, losing my grip, fell to the floor. Out of my head, losing control, losing my grip, out on the floor. Out of my head, losing control. Then she takes me by the hand, primitive nature in demand, tripping on an astro belt, lost in heaven, feel so well. Out of my head, losing control, losing my grip, out of the floor. Out of my head, losing control, losing my grip, out of the floor. Out of my head, losing control, losing my grip, out of the floor. Out of my head, losing control. control, losing my grip, out of the drawer.
Welcome back to Newsmakers as we look at the North Heights Porchfest planned for October 5th. Joining our conversation now is Stephanie Moore, a veteran Porchfest host who has taken on the role of Children's Activities Coordinator, which is expanding this year, and artist Kevin Dunn, who is performing at Porchfest for the first time. Welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So this is the first year, I mean, it's a family event, but you're really going to up the ante about having more family fun, and you're a second grade teacher formerly, so
yes.
You're perfect for this role.
Yes, I think so. I retired this year, so it's my first year not actively teaching, and I've had artists perform at my house before, but just walking around noticing it's family friendly, family oriented. I just thought we needed more children's activities. So I just reached in my big bag of educational tricks and pulled out some great ideas, and it's been awesome.
So what are some of the activities you have planned for kids?
We're very excited this year. We have Izzy B. He's a local artist. He will be reading a book and then signing books for kids later on. We will have Megan Dotson, who's a fabulous second grade teacher at Webster and Webb City, and her mother is with the Little Library League in Oronogo. They're going to be doing a read aloud and activities with kids. And we have the amazing Neely Garvin Myers with Creative Learning Alliance, and she's going to be doing something amazing, guaranteed.
Something amazing.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Why was it important for you to have kids' activities? I mean, you know, so they can want to be at Porchfest, and I mean, kind of then you expose them to music too.
I always think it's important having children of my own. Of course, now they're all older, grown, and gone. But whenever you do something for the community, you want to invite the community, and that includes our children. And as an adult who has small children, going and doing all these things and realizing there wasn't a whole lot for the kids to do, they get bored, they really want to go home. So to offer things for everybody in the community, I thought was important, and to absolutely include kids.
Do you think they kind of get exposure to the music by osmosis this way?
Yes, that's one of my favorite parts about it is I love live music, and I'm so excited every year to hear and see all the musicians that we have. And I think anytime we can expose children to arts and especially music, we got to do it.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, this is your first year. Do you have kid-friendly music as well as just in your repertoire? Do you feel like it's family-friendly?
Yeah, I found that kids love songs about bad breakups and not knowing what to do with your life. And I don't think that it's anything too adult, you know what I mean? But you know, I have a really sweet song that I wrote about my wife. I think kids might like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Why did you want to be part of Porchfest?
I am very pro anything that supports local art. I think supporting art locally is such an important thing. I moved to Joplin in 2020, which decidedly was a bad year for music festivals, you know, across the board. But the past couple years since I've been aware of it, it was just something that I really wanted to be a part of. It seems so cool and it's so unique. I've done a lot of music festivals, and they can all kind of start to blur together, you know, very similar sort of things. But Porchfest just seems like something that is so different and so unique to this town and to the people that get to perform there. And I think it's just a very special thing.
Are you hoping this brings you exposure and, you know, a chance to book some gigs?
Sure. I think that's a great thing whenever that happens. But more than anything, for me, it's just about being able to sort of soak in a moment with a bunch of other artists and people that want to support that. To me, that's one of the great things about music festivals in general is they can sort of feel like family reunions, where you get to meet up with all of these artists that you maybe don't get to see, especially if you're a busy musician. You know, it's kind of a trope that you're always missing other people's shows because you have shows. So when you get to do a festival with a bunch of artists that you like and enjoy, it's a great experience for anybody that gets to be involved.
How would you describe your musical sound?
It's sort of folky, and maybe kind of retro. It's very singer-songwritery. I mean, at Porchfest this year, my solo thing is just going to be, you know, acoustic guitar and harmonica and singing. So, yeah, it's, you know, I draw from a lot of different sources for inspiration, but artists like Jeff Tweedy, the band Wilco, Bob Dylan, not to invite that comparison, but just sort of, people that have inspired me to write songs and be creative. Just people in that sort of vein.
Excellent. Yeah. Stephanie, you've hosted a number of bands on your porch.
I have.
Why host, and what advice would you give to Kevin when he's playing on the porch and, the experience?
Why host? I mean, why not? It was so much fun. I love live music. I love supporting local, and I love our community. So I think William asked me, and I couldn't say yes quick enough. Advice? I don't know, love it, enjoy it.
Yes.
I put out a big spread for the musicians and invited them to come in and eat. So, and
That's awesome.
I don't know if everyone will, but it's just so fun.
I'll have to come find your house.
You'll come. I'm actually hosting. I have 2 houses. I'm hosting 2 different bands. That's how much I love it.
Cool.
You could say I drank the Kool-Aid. I'm very excited about it. So I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah. So will you just play one set, Kevin?
I am doing my own acoustic thing, and then my band Here Now is playing. I think I might be playing with Lauren McKay and also Maddie J. May. I'm not, so the many sides of what I do as a musician, I think will be represented at Porchfest. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it.
That seems to be a trend where a lot of our local musicians play with each other or for each other.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. You mentioned the family thing. It is kind of a family
that's very
musician.
much the way it feels. And to me, my favorite festivals have always been that way, where you can, I used to run in like a country music kind of circle, and festivals were always so fun because we'd have a fiddle player from another band that we'd say, oh, hey, like, why don't you come hop on our set? Or we'd find, a guitar player we loved or something like that. Or I would get to go play drums with some people I had never played with. And that stuff to me, it's so inspiring. And again, just as a musician, you can run into a lot of things that are not so fun sometimes. But I always find that when you leave a good music festival, you really just feel like your tank is filled up.
It fed your musical soul.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right. Stephanie, wrap us up with the date and time again so everybody knows, and where they can find out the information on where the bands are playing.
October 5th in the Roanoke North Heights neighborhood in Joplin from 12 to 6 this year. The Joplin Globe has been gracious and so good to us. They're going to put out a full print ad, and we'll have maps and things to go on. You can always go into our North Heights neighborhood Facebook page, get information that way.
Excellent.
So, and I'm hoping a lot of the local businesses around town will have information too that we have so happily given them, and they are always awesome about helping us disseminate that information.
Thank you both for being here.
Thank
Keep
you.
good luck playing your sets this year.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That wraps up this edition of Newsmakers. We hope you can attend Porchfest, but know that KGCS will be sending a crew, and we'll share songs from Porchfest on our Behind the Band show, which airs nightly. I'm Lisa Aldigas. Thanks to our guest, and thank you for watching.